Welcome back to another episode on Journey to Authenticity, the podcast designed to help you become your true authentic self, create a clear vision for life, and ultimately step into a life of transformation. I'm your host, Braiden Belnap. I'm a transformational life coach, speaker, and entrepreneur dedicated to helping you do just that, transform your life. But what if you're in a position of maybe it's living in the car? Maybe you're in a different hole that you're just not quite confident in getting out of. That's exactly why we have JC Cassata joining us today, because he went from being raised by his grandparents to his grandpa passing away at 16 years old and moving out into his car at 16. From there, persevering, having discipline, having sacrifice, he was able to make a lump sum of money at 18 years old and has never made any less money than that throughout his entire career and starting a new venture. He's here to help you, guide you through discipline, sacrifice, showing you that anything is possible, and finding the way to become your best version of self through spirit, mind, and body. With that in mind, welcome to the show, JC.
Happy to be here, brother. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. From a small 5-minute or less conversation in Puerto Rico streets to a virtual podcast, I'll take it.
Yeah, it was wild. Just walking down. We were near that little beach area, I think, right? And we were just walking along where all the shops were. And you pointed out that T-shirt I was wearing, actually, and that was that. Yeah,
Lions Not Sheep. Shout out to Waylon. Those, that just shows the power of not just personal brands, but also brands.
Yeah, absolutely.
They connect people together in an instant.
Yeah, especially brands like that one. It's that one always spoke to me from day one, but I get more comments on that T-shirt when I wear it out. It's a really good conversation starter because it's a cool little brand, but it also, the message behind it has a lot of hit, a lot of impact. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyways, to jump right into things, what initially inspired entrepreneurship for you?
I guess I knew from my grandfather. My grandfather, sort of raised me and groomed me, as far back as I can remember. He always told me I was going to work for myself, and I was always going to, back then in those times, I was going to run the family business for him, of course. One day this will all be yours, that kind of thing. And it was cool. I spent my childhood half in the city, playing city boy, and half out in the country. My grandfather bought a farm, and so, one day we'd be out in the city and he'd be taking me to commercials for the dealerships. They're shooting commercials, and back in the old days, he'd be picking up tapes and dropping off, this and that, or whatever, and envelopes. Everything was just way before digital. So it was cool. We'd drive around town doing that. And then in the weekend, we'd be out on the farm, and he'd be teaching me how to, use the tractor and everything about how a plow works. Just, it was cool to grow up with a man like that as a role model. And he was an entrepreneur himself. In fact, his decision to be an entrepreneur went completely against the family, and at first really upset his parents quite a bit. But they came around, obviously. But he went to college to be a aeronautical engineer, and got his first job doing it, didn't like it. Just bored working for the man, showing up, and when he had to shoot, when they told him, and doing what he was just, this isn't for me. So he just started his own advertising company out of nothing, and created a great little company out of it, and was a very successful man by doing that. So I guess I didn't know any other way to do
it. We all need role models, and we don't all have that grandfather that was that entrepreneur, but there's always somebody that we can look up to.
Absolutely.
Like, this is possible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everything is possible through belief.
Absolutely. It's for you. Did you ever see your grandfather struggle in entrepreneurship, or at that point was he just consistent?
Oh yeah, no. It was really cool. It was very unique for me to be involved as much as I was with him. I spent more time with him than my grandmother did. Because, we would have breakfast. I remember every morning she'd make breakfast. We'd have breakfast. We'd talk over breakfast. And that was it. And if I was spending the day with him, it was 10 hours, me and him driving all over town, picking up, dropping off, interacting with this person and that person. And one of the things that I loved about that man, and one of the things that shaped me, was he would stop and he would explain to me what we were doing, why we were doing it, the angle of, the strategy of the interaction that I was about to witness and have. Like, we'd be going for a quick little business meeting or something. And he would, even though I was only 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, he'd say, okay, buddy, here's what we're doing. I'm meeting this guy for this reason. He represents this, and this is what that means to me. And I want him to do this for me. So I'm going to and he explained it and broke it down to me. And it was really, really cool. And I feel so fortunate to see that. But I also saw the bad days, and he was really graceful in defeat. He was really graceful. And he would I remember, hey, today was a bad day. It wasn't what we were hoping for, right? But he had a really great quote that always has stuck with me, that I reflect on when I need it, and I like to share with others when the time is right. But he used to say, did we have a bad day? Or did we have a frustrating 10 or 15 minutes that didn't go the way we were hoping for? And are we going to let that 10 or 15 frustrating minutes ruin the entire day? Or are we going to just let it be what it is, learn what we can from it, and move forward? And so he never stayed upset. He was famous for saying, I can't afford to be angry. That's a rich man's game. Can't afford to be angry. That's a rich man's game. I can't afford that. I can't afford that. He would always say that. And so he would just, if something happened, he'd get mad. You could see him he'd just do a little internal blow up thing he'd do. Sometimes he'd go in the other room and scream off into the distance, but he never stayed mad for long. He was infectiously enthusiastic. And so, he was just ready to okay, let's move on. So yeah, I got to see the good. I got to see the downside, the bad stuff, some really gnarly stuff. I'm not going to go into all of it, but I've seen some, him screaming, him and another guy in an office screaming in the face and like chest to chest. I thought these dudes were going to go at it. You know what I mean? And they're disagreeing over some payroll money dispute, whatever. I don't know. They're in each other's face. I mean, he walks out and just turns it right off. And all right, buddy, let's move on. And it's like, oh my God, like he's got like instant reset. This is incredible. And so, yeah, I mean, it was cool to see that, but you learn, like, be a goldfish, 10-second memory, on to the next thing.
As simple as that sounds, everybody could take that advice and implement it in their own life.
Absolutely.
Winners have 3. Losers do this. Winners don't do this. There's 3 things that will always hold people back.
Yeah.
One is that they personalize the hardships. They make it about themselves.
Yeah.
They allow that one hardship to seek in every other aspect of life. If I have a bad day, I have a bad day with my wife. If I suck at finances, then my life sucks.
Yep.
And 3 is perseverance. They never see that it will ever end in their life.
Yep.
Since I have this problem, I will always have this problem.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sounds like your grandfather's just like, this isn't about me. This can be a moment. Let's get kicking. Let's go.
Yeah. He, when I was a kid, I didn't totally understand or grasp this concept, but the one thing he used to say a lot is it was funny. He was he was a great salesman, but he had a lot of really good non-verbal communication. So, but one of the things he would do is he'd be sitting in the living room watching a movie or something. My grandmother, I was raised by my grandparents. I don't know if I mentioned it. My mom. My grandmother being in the kitchen doing whatever. She was always in the kitchen, cooking, cleaning. I'm always in. She didn't. But he would just point and he'd say, "You look, see your back." You look and you say, "Yeah." He said, "That's the reason we gave all for it, all for it." And when you grow up with a father figure that teaches you to find a woman to make, your priority in your life. You look at women differently, you treat them differently, you move differently, behave differently. Um, and it helps you once you learn it, once you learn how to, because you go through phases in life. My 20s, I was out crazy in the streets, being the typical D-bag 20-year-old guy and doing all that stuff, dealing with insecurities of my own by trying to, prove my prowess. And you could be doing all that stupid stuff. So immature, but you don't know at the time that it is. You think you're living life, you're in the moment. It always seems right, and you get older and you start learning a little more, and then you have some serious relationships. And, if you have one good serious relationship and that's it for life, I'm happy for you. That's, God bless you. I've had a couple of relationships that were serious that didn't end, in bliss for me. But I learned something from each. And I bring that to my current relationship. And my marriage with my wife, it clicked. I remember looking at her one day, and I was just looking at her, and she even smiled and looked back at me and said, "Well, why are you looking at me like that?" And I was like what? She's like, "I don't know. You've never made that face." And I was like, she's, "What are you thinking about?" I was like, "I'm thinking about my grandfather and how he used to point at my grandmother and say, it's all for her. Just keep working every day. You wake up and that's your purpose." And I don't know, it kind of clicked. So, having someone like that in your life to focus your energy on it makes it easier as a man to know your purpose. And that's one thing I think a lot of people are missing these days, because what I've noticed, especially about younger people, is they don't allow themselves to get close to people anymore. It's like, even people that are in relationships that I know, they're just sort of roommates that pay bills together, that have an intimate, factor to the relationship, but they don't really know each other that well. They're not that close. They don't live for each other, and that's okay. I guess it's fine, but once you learn to do that, nothing else makes sense.
And it works for them.
Yeah,
but they keep doing it and have more purpose in their life.
Yeah.
Got to take that relationship from good to great, man.
You really do. And any man in a relationship with a female that's having trouble in that relationship, just take responsibility for it, brother. Just take responsibility. It doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what happened. Doesn't matter who said what. It doesn't matter who caused it. Not just forget all of it. Erase all of it. Do you love her or not? You love her? Good. Is she irreplaceable to you? Yeah, good. Then just let go all of it. Let it go. Mend the fence. Fix the situation. Swallow your pride and move forward. Just come on. There's just too much ego and pride keeping people apart. So, and I know I'll speak from my side of it. Men definitely we're terrible about that. That's something we could do a lot better, is that it's just putting that ego to the side.
Amen to that, man. So let's take it back to the beginning for you. Did you start immediately into entrepreneurship, or what did those beginning stages look like for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I worked in a franchise corporate environment for about 15 years in various different roles. So I worked as a sales representative. I worked as a sales manager, finance director, general sales manager, general manager, all these different positions and titles. And each one taught me something, that was really necessary. Something I need, a lot of lessons there that I needed to learn. A lot of preparation, right? And so I look at that as some kids go to school for 4 years and get a degree, and some do great things with those degrees. Unfortunately, a lot of the people I interact with and employ are kids that have a 4-year degree that is doing nothing for them, that they can't get a job, and that is unfortunately, for lack of a better term, is useless to them. They spent all this money on this dream and they can't get a job in that field. And so, that sucks. But I look at my 15 years as my that was my college. That was my preparation for the day I step out and do it on my own. And I'm thankful for it. I owe most of my success, I'd say, to those lessons learned, because if that foundation wasn't there, I know for sure there was many times where lefts and rights came at me and I probably would have crumbled otherwise. But yeah, I did that. And also, through that process, I was able to make some money and invest get a nice chunk of capital on hand, so that I had some cushion, so that, when I took that leap of faith, there was some security. At least there was a couple weeks there where it was the razor's edge, that's for sure. Seat of your pants. You're like, if the check clears, we're good. If not, I don't know, man. It happened a few times, but that's all part of it.
Would you say that a lot of your grandfather came out in those moments, or what was your emotional dialogue at those moments of like, man, I pray this check goes through?
Yeah. No, he passed when I was 16. And that was the year that I decided that I was going to move out. So I moved out, and my grandmother went into mourning. She was devastated by the loss. And to give context to that relationship, she's still alive and well. She lives in Palm Coast, Florida. She's up every day, all over the place. She studies 3 languages and plays 2 instruments. She is a spark plug. Okay, she's just full of life. 86, 80, going on 87 years old now. Very active. And she's never been with another man since. First man she was with was my grandfather. They married, had 4 kids, and after he passed, she's never dated, nothing. That was her one and only. I mean, you're talking about a Hallmark love story for a idea for a movie. I mean, it's just that's what they had. So he passed when I was 16, and so she was devastated. So it was kind of like losing both of them at the same time. And so I moved out. I went and I lived in my car, and the adventure started there. But he was just kind of like my voice in my head. He was, every time I would be scared or confused or not sure what to do, I would talk to myself. I don't know. Some people do it. Some people think it's weird, but I'm one of the people that I'll stand in the mirror in the bathroom and just talk to myself. I will literally pep talk myself. I will look myself in the eye, and I have dressed myself down before pretty good. I've sworn at myself pretty good before. I've yelled at myself quite a bit. In fact, my wife, when we first started dating, she heard me yelling at myself one day in the bathroom. She was across the house, and she had never witnessed this behavior before. She's like, what's going on? Is everything okay? Who are you talking to? I was like, I was talking to myself. And she's like, no, really, like, who you're on the phone with someone? I was like, no, I was talking to me. Like she really couldn't believe that someone would yell at themselves like that. And I was like, well, you're willing to watch sometime if you want to. She's like, does it work? I'm like, it works for me, I guess. I don't know. There's nobody else to do it. So yeah, it's always been him though. I always hear his voice in my head, always.
Yeah, that mirror work is important, man.
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's easy to lie to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at yourself in the mirror, in your eyes, immediately when you're lying to yourself.
Absolutely. And human beings are the best liars there are. I mean, every single human being lies all day long, every day of their life. It's unfortunately a part of being human. And it's not big lies. Whenever people usually use the word lie, and people automatically think of, the worst betrayals that you can possibly do. But I think that the bulk of the lying that people do on a daily basis are really, really small, tiny, little micro lies that they tell themselves to make their reality palpable, to make the situation that they're in tolerable. They lie to themselves and convince themselves that they like things, enjoy things, because it makes life easier because of whatever situation that they have themselves in. And it gets to a point where if you don't have a grounding moment, and get real with yourself, you can kind of get lost in it. And then you're not living your life. Your life is living you. And you're just a passenger along the way. And that's not me. I'm in control of my decision making. I'm in control of my reactions to everything that happens. I'm in control of my emotions. I have a plan, and I am disciplined in affecting the positive outcome of those plans coming to fruition. And the only way to do that is to got to be real with yourself. You have to take accountability on everything. Everything in my life is my fault. It's that simple. Everything, every single thing is my fault. I am responsible. And once you can really lock into that and use it as fuel, everything else gets easy.
And the moment that you take that accountability, where people get it wrong is they feel like it's putting all the weight on them. Mm-hmm. But in all reality, it's actually putting all the weight down.
You let go of it. Yep. Some people say they give it to God. I follow the teachings of Jesus, and I can dive into that more if you want. But I was raised Christian. I was raised Catholic. I'm Sicilian, but my family's from New York. I mean, that was pretty much the only option that you had. It was like, you're Sicilian or Italian, New York, or Catholic. Okay, cool. But I started questioning my faith in my 20s quite a bit. And, I was really angry about this, that, and everything else, things that happened in life, and wasn't mature enough to process it. And I got that idea in my head, like, no God would let this happen or that. I started having a wrong mindset towards it. But I had, in about 3 years now, 3 years ago, I started diving back into it, and I decided, I wanted a good manual for my life, a good guidebook, a good set of boundaries for myself. And I wanted a man that I could follow. And I started trying to think of celebrities and motivational speakers and just different inspirational people. And I couldn't find a man that I said, that's the one. So I started writing down all the attributes of what I thought peak male would be. What would describe the peak male? I wrote it all down on a piece of paper, Googled it, and Jesus Christ is what came out. Apparently that was my sign. So I started following those teachings, and that's led me to just look at life in a completely different way. And so some people, when they take ownership, they say they're giving it to God, right? Or some people say they're giving it to the universe, or they're whatever it is. It doesn't matter how you label it. That's what you're doing. You have to admit and take full responsibility and accountability for your life before you can let go of the things that are dragging it down. And it's the scariest thing to do for so many people because they're so caught up on not being wrong about something. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who was right. It doesn't matter who was wrong. Life isn't fair. There's no equitable distribution of cash and prizes that just everybody who's born. That's not how it works. You have to take it. It is what it is. You can either be mad about it for the rest of your life and be miserable until the day you die, or you can say, you know what? This is a great lesson I learned. Thank you for the opportunity to level the F up and get better. Now let's go. And that's it. Let's move forward.
Amen to that, man. It's interesting you say 2 to 3 years ago. I started more of my faith journey 2 to 3 years ago as well. And mine was a little bit different. I'm in Utah. You know what Utah's known for?
Mormons. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go. Here wasn't, it was either you were Mormon or you're not. You could be
Absolutely.
Christian, you could be Catholic. No, it was just you're Mormon or you're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
I,
Joseph Smith, I mean, he found the tablets in the woods in upstate New York. And when you're from New York, you actually take, as a kid, you take field trips to Hill Cumorah and to the woods where the tablets were supposed to be to have been found, and you tour that. So I've actually been there.
uh,
I learned all about the Mormon religion through that process. It's fascinating. His whole story is fascinating. But yeah, I can imagine in Utah, you do not have options. Doesn't everything, all the roads, they all lead directly into the central church? Isn't that right?
yes, it's from a grid system from that central.
Yeah, from the central church. I mean, it's built into the infrastructure. I mean, that'd be tough to be anything else there. That's for sure.
Every church, there's a church on every corner. There's so
Mhm.
many temples, and don't, it's actually beautiful. Like when you go on a late night hike and you can see all
Yeah.
the temples. I'm not LDS, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. I love cathedrals. Like I'm not Catholic. I'm not practicing Catholic at all, but the Duomo di Milano in Milan, Italy is probably one of the most beautiful cathedrals in the world. And I never felt more small or humble or, insignificant as I did the day I stood there and looked up at that glass window that was built in a time that just, how did they do it? It's just incredible to me. And so I love cathedrals. When we go travel, I always go look for cathedrals to see, because it's like, for me, that's like literally stepping back in time.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's fun to see that you've been on that journey. My journey has been unique. I'm at this point where I'm looking to find a church personally,
Yeah.
but I started going to churches. I was like, you know what? I just want to dive in. But
Yeah.
I realized I didn't know what I was diving into. So I took a step back and I studied the 12 major religions of the world.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Christianity for sure. Like that's what I want to follow. That's my blueprint to become
Yeah.
the person that I'm destined to be so
Yeah.
that I can go out and make the impact that I'm capable of. But then there were so many different Christian denominations. I'm like, what the hell do I believe?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I went and studied the different denominations. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, the Bible is true. Let's not add our own glimpses of opinions or anything. Let's
Right.
just stick to
Yeah.
the word.
Yep. That's it.
Now I'm in my
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. Amen, brother. Well, I'm happy. I'm so happy to hear that. And I couldn't agree with you more. If you look at the Bible as a historical document, right? And you look at the tests that you would apply to trying to validate, or disprove something. If you just apply the standard tests, there's no book from antiquity that has more supporting provable documents, accounts, or other manuscripts than the Bible. The second, I think, is the Iliad, and I think it's got like, I don't know, it's four or 500, supporting documents. I think the Bible's got something like 6,000 documents and in various different. And then the archaeologists, the more they dig things up and go looking for ways to disprove it, they just keep finding more and more things that actually validate, the Bible's basic information and story as being more of a historical document. So yeah, I'm with you on that. And it's funny too, because when you do come to that moment, I don't know how it was for you. I'd love for you to share with me how you felt, but for me, when it really clicked, because I had been consuming the information like you had been. You're studying all the religions, you're studying the denominations, and you're basically you're hungry for knowledge. You want to know, you're intrigued by this, and you want the answers, but you're also trying not to be biased and allow yourself to, skew the information a certain way to please you. You're really looking at it completely with fresh eyes, and so when I was looking at it, I was like, I was I had this, it was like an epiphany. I was like, what? Like it, of course, how could this not, how did I not, what have I been doing all this time? Like it was such a breakthrough moment, and it hit so hard that I questioned myself for a while. Like, I can't believe I was so resistant to this for so long. What was wrong with me? And, and then that was a whole nother process of I went through for weeks of just talking to myself and talking myself through why did it take me this long? Why was this the moment? Why? Oh, it was like I had to suffer through a whole bunch of trying to figure it out on my own. That's what I was doing. I was trying to figure out how to do life by myself. And you can do okay with it. You can do okay. But once you realize that, once I was like, yes, this is the Bible is true. The word is true. The guidebook is there. The commandments make sense. I can be an amazing person if I just do X, Y, Z. Once that happened, all the weight was lifted. I had my focus. I had my purpose. Now just move forward. It was really cool. How was it for you? Did you have like an epiphanous moment, or like walk me through it?
It was, so long story short, my story started out as what I call the perfect family. So I had a mom and a dad together. I had two siblings. We lived in a 3-story house. We traveled. We played sports. We didn't worry about food. My playroom was about half the size of my house is now. My dad drove an Impala, but as a kid, I didn't really recognize the difference between an Impala or a Lamborghini quite yet. So anything that a kid wanted, I had.
Sure.
And at the tail end of 6th grade, my mom and dad called us siblings downstairs and they got a divorce.
Mm.
Now, this created 3 main limiting beliefs for me. 1, love's not real. I saw you guys go to sleep the last couple of days together and now it's just done.
Yeah, no. Mm.
2, you never know what's real or what's fake. To me, this was all real. To them, it's not what they want.
Yeah, your identity. Yeah.
And 3, if the closest people are going to lie to me, because that's as a kid what it felt like, then I can only rely on myself.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward 7th grade, first quarter, I immediately start down drugs, alcohol, petty theft, you name it. And halfway through 8th grade, I started to see where I was headed, 6 feet under a jail cell.
Sure.
I didn't like that idea, but I didn't know how to change. I didn't know who to trust, how to trust. But I was super high and drunk with all my friends in my basement. I hear the words in the back of my head say, go to the bathroom. Now, I didn't have to go, but I listened. And as soon as I shut that door, a light came over me. I'm immediately sober. And I hear the words, either you will transform and make an impact, or you will die before you graduate high school.
Mm.
Now, you talk about mirror work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's huge. That's huge, brother. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you can't ignore, can you?
No, that was my epiphany moment.
Yeah.
And you talk about mirror work. That moment to me brought so much peace and clarity, because even though I didn't believe I was capable of more, I felt validated that I could be.
Yeah.
And that moment I took the moment to look myself in the mirror, my eyes, and I felt, the way I explain it is, when you have practically a brand new car, it's a super old fashioned car though, but it's covered.
Sure.
You really don't know the value of what's underneath it until you pull off that cover.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, this was my pull off the cover moment. I saw myself beneath all the guilt, the shame, the frustrations, the self-hatred.
Yeah.
Of course, I walked out. Nothing changed.
A lot of anger.
Yes, lots of anger.
Yeah, a lot of anger.
And the last day in 9th grade, that same voice came to me and said, this is your last day to change. You'll be this way forever. So I felt in control, right? We talk about owning your outcome, taking control of everything.
Yeah.
That day I cut off all friends, quit everything cold turkey.
Yep.
Started picking up podcasts, books, you name it. And later on, I started sales at 16, started my first marketing agency at 17. I met my wife now at 16 years old. And to say the least, after all this work, there's not another epiphany per se, but after all this work of working on myself, my relationships, my life, something still felt empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to me, that was my sign that there was something more to what I was doing.
Yeah. 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 You were believing, but you weren't acting in faith.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is a fulfillment thing. It is. It really is, because, we can go to the gym. The gym was my therapy for a long time. And I spent a lot of years being real angry at my biological parents and the things that they did to me when I was a kid, and their whole thing. So I feel for you on that. That's a hard thing to go through as a kid. It really, really sucks. And you get angry. You get angry at your mom and your dad. And I don't know how it was for you, but my parents were so angry at each other that they sort of pawned. They played us as like little pawns, and my dad would say terrible things about her when we were with him, and vice versa. She'd say terrible things about him, and and they didn't at the time. I know they didn't know the damage that they were doing at the time. They were young, and and I know they didn't want to do the harm, and they didn't mean to. I know they were just angry, but the amount of harm it does to a kid to feel exactly the things that you just described, complete loss of identity, complete lack of faith in love and in reality. Your whole world just gets completely flipped upside down all in one moment. And it's not like anyone's written a book, the guidebook on how to respond to that. And okay, well, your parents are going through a divorce for dummies. Like, somebody needs to write that book, and like write it at like a fifth grade level. So kid, hand them a book. Like, it's insane. You just go through it by yourself, and you don't know who to talk to about it. It's tough, but I feel for you on that. But the gym was my therapy for a long time. So I poured myself into the gym, and then my career. So I got my career. I was pouring myself into my career. Okay, I'm successful in my career. I'm super fit in the gym. I'm gonna clean my diet all up. Okay, my diet's super clean. I don't drink. I don't party. I don't do any of this stuff. I'm like the perfect person. And then I still feel that hole like you're talking about. I still feel like something's missing. And it's, I was getting physical reps in, and I was getting mental reps in, but I wasn't getting spiritual reps in. And the spiritual reps were the ones that I was missing. And that was the one that really completed the whole thing for me.
It's a car, right? You need that engine or your car ain't gonna run.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I want to get back to your beginning stages, JC. We've talked about, spirituality, mental health, physical health. You have a lot of sacrifice and discipline, which is very clear to me, which I respect. And I'm sure you respect that about yourself as well.
Very much, yeah.
At 16, being in your car, when was maybe you're still working on that breakthrough moment. I don't know. You've had a lot of success, but when did you feel like you, quote unquote, made it?
When I made it, that's a great question, because if you're doing it right, then, people might disagree with this, but if you've been through it and you're the real item, you're the real deal, like you've really done what I've done, and you've really done life and created business and money and everything from thin air with your mind and a phone. If you've really been through the process, then the correct answer is you never make it. It's not about making it. It's the pursuit of making it, because once you make it, you die. Retirement is death. It really is. I've seen so many people turn 65 and they're vibrant and they're sharp and they're active and all these things in business and everything else. And then they retire and they just sit, do nothing and waste away. We have to have purpose bigger than ourselves. And so making it is really just a fallacy. There is no making it. You really don't. I can tell you sometimes I felt like I did, but I was wrong. I felt like it. But when I was 18 years old, the year I turned 18, I made $265,000 that year. And I've never made less than that. So my standards for my income for myself were set real high right away. Just imagine being 18 years old and make that kind of money, and no parents, no guidance, nobody to, just figuring it out. It was, in that moment, in that year, I tell you what, I felt like I made it, but I didn't. I squandered almost all of it, wasted almost all of it, spent money on people that I thought were my friends, went places that I thought would, make me look cool or give me clout, hung around cliques and drank too much alcohol, did too many, I just sinned for a year straight. Is that making it? No. Did I make a bunch of money? Yeah, but I didn't make it. That's for damn sure. I didn't make it. And then you fast forward, when I got my first management position, I felt that day like I made it. Look at me, I made it. I'm the big boss now. I got the title in the corner office and the salary and the car and all the things. Most people would say I made it that day too, but I didn't make it because I couldn't appreciate any of it. I didn't care about any of it. It really didn't. I liked it. I liked my cool cars. I liked my big house. I liked my model girlfriend. I liked my routines. I liked being able to buy anything I wanted, anytime I wanted it. Liked it. But I hated myself. I really did, because I was still not being serving to anyone. I was just chasing the dollar. Chasing the dollar. I didn't love the girl. I wish I did, but I didn't. The car was cool, but after you drive it a couple of times, it's a car. The house was great. Whoa, look at this big house. But after a couple of months, you're like, dang, do I really need a house this big? These freaking AC bill is pretty high. These taxes are pretty high. Should I really have done this? None of that stuff really brings you true happiness. But if people from the outside looking in, they would have say I made it. But no, I'd say I'm still working on making it every day. But I'm a lot closer than I ever was before. And the closest thing that I ever have been to making it was the day that I committed myself to my wife. I think that was probably the biggest moment for me as a man, as a human being, and as a man. That was my big power move. That was my moment where I can look back and say, I'm proud of myself. I committed myself, and I'm going to see that through. It's one of the best things I've ever done. It's the biggest adventure of my life, taking care of her and loving her and being, a servant to her. And if I had to, I'd say that's probably my made it moment.
There's three words that came to mind when you were talking about this: sacrifice, success, and then significance. And don't get me wrong, right? You still have sacrifice. There's sacrifice no matter what age, what level we're at.
Absolutely.
To me, you made that a sacrifice to go in your car at 16. And then you made the sacrifice making money out of thin air with a cell phone and no money.
Right.
Got some success, but you were missing that significant piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now it's just consistently, because purpose is forever evolving. You can have one purpose now, but is that your purpose tomorrow?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You you can't, if you want to be successful in life, there's you can be successful in business and be very unsuccessful in life. You have to realize as a man that if you want to be the 1% that everyone talks about, if you want to exist in that frame, if you want to be, you know, on par or on a level with the 1% of people, as cliche as it sounds, you simply have to be willing to do what the other 99% of people are not willing to do. And sacrificing is one of the things that 99.99% of people simply won't do. They just won't do it. They'd rather get divorced, or, you know, just change their girlfriend or boyfriend, or change their job, or, you know what I mean? They just, sacrifice is just unfortunately not something that people really look at anymore as a means to success. These days, everyone is so caught up in trying to find little pleasures, you know, dopamine hits from video game consoles and from their phone and from it's just everywhere. But once you learn how to sacrifice, and once you have a reason to, and once you know your purpose for your sacrifice, it feels good after a while. You reflect on it and you say, yeah, I'm not doing this and that so that I can get this end result over here. And when you receive the end result, it's just so much better. You know, it's the hardest won prizes are the ones that feel the best. And so, you know, that's, you have to sacrifice. You have to. And then significance, I think you said, right?
Yeah, significance.
You have to find something in your life that you feel is significant, truly. I think that's a component, unfortunately, a lot of people are missing too. They just sort of go through life. They wake up every day and they do their routine, and life is living them, and they just go through it. Because it's scary. It's scary to sit down and say, what do I have that is significant to me? Because what if the answer is nothing at all? Right? It's too scary, so I'm just not going to think about it. Or what if the thing is something that they're not happy about? Or, you know, people are just so afraid to face those truths sometimes because they can be uncomfortable. But, you know, you can't change your situation if you can't even admit there is one in the first place. So, yeah, you need to find something significant in your life to live. And if it's not going to be someone else or something else, then you need to make it yourself. Make yourself the most significant thing in your life, and not in a materialistic or narcissistic way. It's not about, you know, YOLO and, you know, treat yourself and all this nonsense and covering yourself in other people's names to make yourself feel better or elevated. You know, loving yourself is being true to yourself, humbling yourself enough to know who you actually are, what you really want out of life, what makes you happy. And what am I going to do to bring life, happiness, and joy to those around me? That's the kind of stuff that brings purpose and refocuses and helps people find significance in life. What was the third, brother?
There was sacrifice, success, significance.
Success. Yeah, success is certainly waiting for everyone. Everyone can find it. It's doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter where you were born, doesn't matter what color you are, religious affiliation, none of that stuff matters. If you're authentic and if you bring value to those around you in your life, you can certainly find success in whatever it is that you do. Absolutely.
Amen to that, man. You've had great triumphs and some low moments in your life.
Yeah.
And of course, we can't get into all of them. We could make a whole podcast about that.
Yeah.
But the core message here is for somebody else going through it. Maybe they've reached success, similar to you. They're making money. They have the cars. They have the girls, but they're not loving themselves. maybe it's somebody that's striving for that.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your advice to that young 20-year-old kid looking to create success and significance in their life?
Yeah.
How
Well,
do you, how do
go
you
ahead.
stay disciplined? How do you keep sacrificing in the midst when it just doesn't make sense at this moment?
Yeah. It's a great question, brother. So, I mean, that's two scenarios. That's two people, right? So if I was sitting at a table and on my left I had the young man that's never made any money but has all the desire in the world and has the big dream, right? He's got the big dream, and then I got the other guy to my right, and he's sort of made it to an extent, and he's doing good, but he doesn't feel fulfilled yet. Um, you know, to the young man, I'd say limitations and boundaries will guide you. You need to set limitations and boundaries for yourself. Just because the bulk of people are doing something, the sheep are doing something, it doesn't mean that it's for you. It's not for us. In fact, you can elevate yourself without money faster by simply behaving in contrast to the other 99%. So if you're young and you want to elevate yourself, and you think that the only way you can do that is with money, you're absolutely wrong. In fact, you can elevate yourself faster through behavior. You can buy your way into a lot of clubs. You can buy your way into a lot of meetings and rooms and situations, but you can get there for free through behavior and mindset. If you show up early, if you commit to whatever it is that you're doing mentally, if you have the answers, if you fully lock in, and I mean fully lock into whatever it is that you want out of your life, whatever industry that you're in, if you want success in it just as bad as you want your next breath, and act as if, behave as though you're already the CEO of the company. How would the CEO behave? Would he show up to the meeting 10 minutes late? No. Would he dress like that? No. Would he speak that way? No. Well, I don't know how to speak. Take voice lessons, read books, listen to podcasts, fill your head with the information that you want to have readily available to come back out again. Whatever you put in your senses is who you are. Whoever you surround yourself with is who you become, and whatever you do most often is who you are as a person. So choose very wisely what you do, who you spend your time with, and how you invest that time into those activities. Because if you can focus now at 20, shoot, if you can get this, what I know, it took me all these years to figure out, if you can get this locked in at 20, you have the world by the purse strings, as they say. I mean, anything you want is there for you. Just keep moving forward and make sure that you find something that satisfies you spiritually as well. I invite people, to really look hard at that aspect of it as well. And then to the man that's achieved some success but feels hollow, it's Jesus for me. The answer is Jesus for me. The missing component in those men, and I've known many of them. I employ a bunch of those guys. Great guys, but they get their check, they spend their check. That's what motivates them. That's how they live. What creates their urgency in them, that elevates them mentally to the place where they can perform in the pocket, know all the right words to say, be charming, and close the deal, is the fear that's in the back of their head that their money's about to run out. And that's how a lot of guys in business operate. They operate on this constant cycle, this fear motivation cycle. Motivation will not make you successful. It never will. Motivation does not get the job done. Motivation will help you get the job started, but discipline will get the job done. And again, that's the difference between the 1 and the 99. not going to the strip club, not drinking with the guys, not having poker night, not staying up till 2 a.m. playing World of Warcraft or Call of Duty or whatever else it might be. There's so many distractions and things in this world to fog up and take away from people's glory and greatness. And as soon as you stop focusing on those things and we focus on Jesus, you'll find that fulfillment.
Let's go. So what I'm hearing from that is Jesus was your answer to fill in that void. I mean,
absolutely, without question.
Gym,
without question,
mental gym.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you personally getting in your spiritual reps in at this time?
So I think I'm on I don't read the Bible. I listen to it on Audible. It's like 96 hours, but I'm on my like fourth time all the way through. I'm about done. I think I have like 6 hours left of listening to that for the fourth time through. I listen to it at the gym. It's crazy how your gym, like what you listen to in the gym, changes over time. It started off as like really aggressive, like rock and roll and metal and stuff, and then rap, and then techno, and then podcasts. And now I'm in there repping 405 on the bench, listening to the Bible. It's just like anyone watching me, they're probably thinking I'm jamming out to something, and I'm like, Ecclesiastes or something like that. But I just listen to it all the time. I listen to that constantly. I listen to only Christian and faith-based music, whether it be, with the mix station I play, like on the little Pandora radio or whatever on Spotify, or some artists that I found that I really like. Like there's a couple rappers actually that I've started really listening to a lot lately that just have awesome beats in the songs and then great messages. I'm listening to that nonstop. I don't listen to anything but that, period. And then, every morning in the morning, I have my starts of the day is the same routine every morning. I wake up at 5 a.m. I come downstairs and I make my wife breakfast every day. It's one of my ways I communicate love. I'll wake up, I make her breakfast. And while I'm doing that, I listen to just basically kind of praise music real quiet, but I spend the morning basically just talking to myself. I did this for a long time, years and years. I just never organized it. And what my faith in Jesus did is it changed me from just talking to myself in the morning randomly to organizing my thought into what I call prayer. And so I talk to myself every morning about what am I going to accomplish today? What do I need to get done? What needs to get done? What are the goals? Small goals, big goals. I just talk my way through every morning. By the time she's ready to come and sit down and eat, I'm prepped. I'm ready. My mind is focused and sharp for the day. And it's just a great way to start the day. And then we pray over each meal. I pray over her. And I pray at night, when we're going to bed. And I keep myself constantly in touch with that and surround myself with it. And I've been doing that for a long time now. And now it's very second nature. I look forward to doing it. When I first did it, it was awkward and weird. Like just this new thing I'm doing is I'm praying now. And it was kind of felt strange at first. But now it's like, I look forward to it. I smile. It makes me feel good. It's like a warm feeling. Like when you have like hot coffee, drink coffee, you get that warm feeling to your body. I get that now when I pray. So prayer is my key. Yeah, that's been my key.
I gotta send you this book, but there's a book by William Black that I had on the podcast, and I believe the title is How to Talk with God.
Yeah.
To me, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not just, I'm thinking about, like, there's real conversation there.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, there's a whole dialogue, and it all happens. It all happens in your head. And I think the thought, and then there's an answer. I think the thought and there's an answer. And a lot of the answers come in the form of different various Bible verses. I think the thought, and then I'll think of a specific Bible verse that applies to it. And it's like, oh, there you go. Boom, right there. And it's great because, the Bible has all these beautiful stories and metaphors and all of these beautiful images that you can reflect on in almost any situation of life. And there's guidance, there's wisdom there. There's something to help you, through it. I think that the Bible says, fear not, or do not fear, or do not be afraid in various different versions, like 365 times. I think do not fear or be not afraid. Basically, a small phrase that references not being afraid I think it's 365 different times in the Bible that happens. So it's like, it's a pretty strong theme there.
There is a strong theme there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I went to church today. It's the Mission Church, one of the most favorite churches me and my wife have been to. So we might just call it home now.
Okay.
The pastor said, you've never had a Bible study alone if you're a true believer.
Absolutely. Yeah. Amen.
You're having a conversation with God.
Yeah.
God's there. Jesus is there. Holy Ghost is there.
Absolutely.
I love this, JC. Thank you so much. As we come to a wrap here, if there was one last message you could leave to the audience today, what would that be?
Be hopeful in everything you do. Know that it will all work out. Stay focused. Stay true to yourself, and give it to God. Just let it go. You deserve peace, and you can be the best version of yourself if you just choose to be.
Let's go, man. And of course, we're on the Journey to Authenticity podcast. What is your definition of an authentic life?
Authentic life, yeah. Authenticity comes from honesty. As long as you're honest about absolutely everything, and I mean everything in your life, you can find true authenticity. And the sooner you do that, the happier you become. It's those little lies, those little teeny tiny lies that people tell themselves on a daily basis. This isn't really hurting me that bad. It's really not that big a deal that I go do this or that, or whatever people do. They do these mental gymnastics to convince themselves that the lifestyle they have is okay. It's good. No, you're lying to yourself, unfortunately, too much. And I know it's scary to let go. It's scary to let go, but step off that ledge, let go of it, let it go. Stop lying to yourself. Tell the truth about all of it to yourself. Just be honest. Let go of the weight. Just shed that. Give that to God and find your path, because living that way, it's just so much better. It's just so much better. The cool kids always made smoking look real cool back in the day. It's disgusting. It's repulsive. So many people do it. And so many people get addicted to smoking. Just imagine if you could find a way to be that addicted to living your life to the fullest.
And it's possible.
Absolutely. All things are possible. Absolutely. Everything and every goal in your life can be as achievable. All things are possible through God.
And the coolest part is we talked through, sacrifice and discipline. The one thing that I am a firm believer on, and this just goes to show like how something that's truly will serve you through discipline is cold showers or cold plunge.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ice bath.
An ice bath, a cold shower will give you more dopamine than any sinful thing will do.
Oh yeah.
Dopamine for you.
Oh yeah. I take a cold shower once a day, every day.
Yes.
It's either that or the ice bath. That's my favorite way to get the morning going. And it's a little uncomfortable, but discomfort creates a lot more after the fact.
Oh, there's never been a day I've regretted taking a cold shower, JC.
No.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Absolutely, brother.
So thank you so much again, JC. Is there anything
my pleasure
we can be doing to support you?
No, brother. It's been a pleasure to be on here. I hope that this content and this conversation can be meaningful and helpful to you and what you're doing and your mission, which I think is very valuable. And if it reaches just one person and helps just one person out, then I'll feel like I've done my duty for my faith in God as well.
Well, yeah, man. And what I'll say to this is beyond the podcast, I fundamentally respect you. I mean, from willing to slow down in Puerto Rico and have a short conversation to jumping on the podcast. I mean, going above that, you just exited a company. And how many people go from success freedom within money to retirement?
Right.
And you went from a success that was something that a lot of people don't accomplish to their life to considering what was next.
Yeah.
And
I had to, brother, like you, and you asked me earlier, when did I feel like I make it or made it? No. Yeah. When did I feel like I made it? Yeah. When I met you, I was right in the midst of blissful retirement. Yeah. But here I am going on to the next project. I'm not done yet. Not done yet. I haven't fully answered my call just yet, brother.
Hey, it's coming. I have a feeling for you, JC. Thank you so much again for coming on. Have a good day, buddy.
You too, brother. God bless.
Thanks so much for joining myself and JC on the Journey to Authenticity podcast today. If you like what both myself and JC had to say, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. This helps to ensure that we get the highest quality and most interesting guests to help you transform your life. Also, I have you here, this book, The Coded Transformation, in the back of me. If you are truly ready to encompass what me and JC talked about today, becoming your best version of yourself through spirit, mind, and body, building your relationships, and building your life through discipline and sacrifice, this book will walk you through 7 core principles, 7 core steps to truly transform your life. With that in mind, have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody.